Chitty Chat GPT.
Season 8, Episode 30, number 337 of the Decoded Podcast is now live.
Episode 338 could very well be a return to our Joe Rogan-esque length of podcasting.
Don't tease me like this, bro.
Because I don't think, well, because I'm not for summer session. I think I'm Tai Chi'd out for now. So today being the last class, I'm not going to renew for the summer. There's some I got a ton of stuff. I got a ton of stuff to kind of play with and work on. The Tai Chi has been phenomenal. I say, like, dude, do it. Like, no joke. As far as a slow practice, like just a slow meditative practice that really gets the brain thinking and gives you a cool, soft study in your body function, like how your body kind of moves. I say go for it. Like, I would recommend it to anybody. Find a school or a dojo, or even if you have to go to like a MMA club, but they do Tai Chi. It's pretty phenomenal. This dojo that I go to, it's not a dojo. I mean, it's like they rent a room in like this industrial center, kind of in the same little complex. There's a dance studio, there's a bowling alley, and an escape room thing. It's kind of like that action, right? Just to the east of my house, so it's pretty close. It was like $200 January to today, so it's like that's a nice stretch. And there was 2 different classes I could have gone to. The Saturday one was just the one that I knew I could commit to. Plus, there was that whole thing I told you, there was an activity I wanted to do with Karen. We wanted to be able to do something. But man, like it was really cool. And talk about, well, and I guess you could end up going to a Tai Chi place where there's a bunch of assholes there. But the people here were really, like, it's just because someone does, yoga or Tai Chi doesn't mean they're a good person. They could be a complete idiot. But I will say, this crew here at this place, just so nice. All of them, everyone there is so nice and supportive. And I mean, it's like, no one's like, yay, good move in Tai Chi. No one's like, no one's backslapping and kind of saying, good job, buddy. There's no attaboys. But, we have these conversations when we're on break, and people share just little bits of their life story and why they're kind of doing it. It's cool. Surprising, and I'm still always surprised by this, but it really is not surprising as I verbalize out loud. Large number of educators and retired educators in the room. Look at what a life in education does to us, brother. You got to retire and then start going to Tai friggin' Chi just to work out the details after the fact. So that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that, and then I'll open my day up after that. See where it goes next.
Okay, bro.
Did you post it?
No, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I haven't done this in a while. I've had to write down the things I need to talk about today.
Okay.
Because I'm lit up about a few things.
Do it.
So I've got Gary's name here. So let's start with Gary.
Okay.
Gary's with us. Good morning, Gary.
Morning, Gary. Morning.
So Gary's probably feeling really good this morning because his Toronto Maple Leafs won last night. So
did they?
They did.
Is that it? Is that like did they win? What is it that they move on? Kind of a thing. Was that an important?
It was an important game because if they lost, they would have been eliminated.
Oh, so, yeah. So weren't
now
they ahead in this series? They were ahead.
They were. This brings a smile to my face because
I feel like I'm in danger raising this point.
You're not in danger. It's just Gary's a huge Maple Leafs fan. I am not. and I respect Gary's I respect Gary, but what I'm interested in is, see, for me it's great because if the longer the Leafs stay in the playoffs, the more it's going to hurt when they're eliminated before they win the cup, which brings me great joy. So it's delayed gratification. If they keep winning, everybody else is like, "Oh, I don't like the Leafs." I'm like, "I don't like them either," but that fall's going to be friggin' hard, man. So,
did you have any feels at all when they took out the Senators?
well, I was talking to Gary about this, I think. I've talked to many people about this. So I'm primarily a Senators fan and a Carolina Hurricanes fan. And this
Yeah,
is
I remember the Canes. I've
of
heard
my
you talk about the
kids.
Canes. Yeah.
So would it have been awesome for the Leafs to for the Senators to beat the Leafs? Of course. But what will bring me more joy is to watch the Leafs lose. Oh, like rather than the Senators win.
Whoa.
That's where I'm at in my hockey journey. So I respect Gary and I respect a lot of good friends who are Maple Leafs fans.
That feels like hockey Schadenfreude. Have you heard of this before? Schadenfreude?
No,
I think I'm saying it right. Maybe Gary, do you know what Schadenfreude is? Have you heard that before? As soon as I give you the definition on it, you're like, yeah, it totally is this. But it's like, it's hockey Schaden. And I like playing with the last part of that. Yeah, because it's Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. I don't know. It's German, I believe. It's the taking of pleasure in other people's pain. So that's if we were still doing titles. This is season 8, episode 30, number 337. Schadenfreude.
Here's the thing. So that the last game, the Maple Leafs lost, and and it was in Toronto, and people were throwing their jerseys on the ice. This is what I love about Maple Leafs fans. When the Leafs are great, everybody's happier than pigs in poop. But the minute they start to lose, $300 jerseys are flying on the ice. And
yeah, but bro, that's the same for any team, though.
No,
right?
It's not.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Sorry.
Okay. That's like the going rate in sports. You're like, yeah. And that exact same exuberance in support of flips, and yet people turn into maniacs and they get angry. We've seen this. This has happened in cities. This has happened in where the actual most damage being done is by the supporters of the team that lost. Like they're not like supporting each other. You need a hug, whatever. They're like, no, they're tipping cars and setting fires. So I think that's where the Schadenfreude becomes reactionary. And you have these individuals that are trash in the joint.
What I'm going to say to that is, from a low-hanging fruit media perspective, you're right.
Okay.
I'm not there, though. I'm a little bit deeper. And in the deepness, Leafs Nation cannot handle it. They suffer and they hate their team, and then the next minute they're loving their team. This is my perspective. I hear what you're saying, and yes, I would agree. To me, that's low-hanging fruit media type stuff. But to me, when you go deeper, those Leafs fans, they cannot handle it. They struggle and they suffer. And they throw their jerseys on the ice every goddamn time. Now, Game 7, I think, is Sunday night in Toronto. It would be epic for them to lose in Toronto. If they win, I'll give them a slow clap, and then we move on to the higher level of the playoffs, where their loss will be even better than if they lose this Sunday. So I'm open to this. I'm watching and waiting. And hey, look, they've sucked me in. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the Leafs. This is unheard of. So Gary's gonna walk the parade route today, just like all of the Leafs nations. Every time they win, everybody goes out, walks the parade route. Then when they lose, they toss their jersey.
And again, but this is what this particular mindset. I get the element that you're introducing, but a large part of this element is the same for any sports team that has fans and fanatics. It's the exact same thing. I do get your extra layer to it, which I will attribute to just this battle for Ontario kind of mindset.
No, it's not even a battle for Ontario.
It's
It's
got to be
Leafs
rooted
suck.
in some trauma.
No, it's I'll tell you what it is. It's
Is it just pure Schadenfreude then?
it, it's Leafs Nation around here is insane. They are
Schadenfreude.
insane. They're not reasonable people. If they were reasonable, I don't have any issue with any other team.
I don't
The
think I've ever met anybody that loved a sport that I would call reasonable. This has been
Bro,
my
there's lots
experience.
of reasonable fans.
Even my dad was like, when it came to his energy in sports, the dude was like Zen Gandhi. Like that's what he kind of, and even he would be pushed into this, like, I'm gonna go out and flip my own car. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Right? It's just, yeah. The
Okay.
whole conversation is hilarious. I really love it. I get it. I get it. I know that there's a cheeky part of you that's also playing into this. Like just to, you know, I get it. I totally get it. Um,
It's good. You and I are
who
gonna
do they play? Who do they play next? Who do they play next after?
I'm not even in I don't
Okay,
even know.
Gary knows. Gary knows. Gary's
Gary,
on
is it
on.
Carolina? It's not Carolina yet, is it? No.
Who did they just play?
Who?
Florida. They just played Florida.
Oh, they're still playing Florida.
Still playing Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
Gary's
Canes.
probably,
Yeah, Gary said it's the Canes. So then it's
man,
on. Then it's on because then I want the Canes to destroy the Leafs.
of course, your
Yeah,
team, right?
then it's on. Like full on. I don't they no more of me playing with Toronto moving forward and then losing in like no.
And
No.
if Canes lose,
Well, if the
will you
Canes
go?
lose, they lose. That's the thing. I'm not going to lose my mind. It
Would you?
happens.
Will you flip your car?
No, I won't flip my car. Look, the Leafs
Will
beat
you flip? Will you flip Gary's car? No.
the Leafs beat the Senators, and the Leafs got scared at the end because the Senators decided to make it interesting, which I enjoyed.
Don't
I
know what
did
that
not.
means, but
I
I'll
did.
accept it.
Well, the Leafs were dominating, and then the Senators make a comeback, and then
Mhm.
Leafs Nation decides to lose their minds again. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! We're going to lose to the Senators. Oh my god! And then they win. Okay, I didn't flip any cars. I didn't send Gary any negative texts. It's all good. Oh, and now Rochelle,
From your shadow account.
my shadow account.
Yeah.
Rochelle says that's only Habs fans that flip cars. LOL. So good morning,
Happened in
Rochelle.
Vancouver. It happened in Vancouver.
Look,
Although I think it did happen in Montreal after a Guns N' Roses concert. So it's like Guns N' Roses and the Habs. So
Gary and Rochelle, please excuse Christopher
oh come
because
on.
his shallow level understanding of what's going on here. He thinks everybody's flipping cars. Okay, the team loses, they flip the car. It's a if Chris watches a bad TEDx talk, he might flip a car too. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and that speaker, someone doesn't clap, they're eyeballing them out there, and they're like, I gotta go find your EV out in the parking lot
Your EV.
or your hybrid, and it's going down. Goes
So
all Tommy boy on them.
I'm loving this because so you got me at the Sens, you got Gary with the Leafs, you got Rochelle with the Habs. I
Hmm.
take the Habs over the Leafs any day of the friggin' week, Rochelle, right on. But I still love my Gary. And Gary says, look, Gary's like, I don't lose my mind either.
Gotcha.
Either way. So
Yeah.
Gary's not so Gary and I could
Spoken
probably grab
exactly like someone that loses their mind. And they're on a podcast right now. Yeah, they're repping. I'm playing, Gary. I'm playing. I've met you, Gary. I know. Yeah, Rochelle, it is. It's
Rochelle
pretty
says it's
spicy
nuts in
there.
Montreal either
It's
way.
spicy. It's
So
spicy.
anyway, Gary and I will have our drinks standing on the sidewalk, watching the cops come in and deal with all the fanatics as
Ooh.
we're buddies, we're gonna chat, we're gonna hang out. I'll wear my Sens jersey, he'll wear his Maple Leafs jersey, and we'll just watch the chaos ensue.
Yep.
So okay, I checked off talking about Gary and the Leafs.
Good. Keep
Um,
going.
I'm almost finished posting this picture of Chris as a Cabbage Patch Kid taking care of his lawn with dad details, and as a Garbage Pail Kid, not maybe so hot with the dad details on the lawn. This is a messed up creative activity here. Um,
Which I
so
totally approve of. I'm teaching the AI right now that it is okay for people to do um sarcastic, funny images like this, at least involving Cabbage Patch Kids and Garbage Pail Kids. So
here's the worst part is even if you didn't like it, I'm still doing it. So I I don't know what's going on with me today.
what I love about it though, as we teach the AI, that's just something now that the AI knows about you. And the AI now knows me that I'm in Zen. I'm in Zen mode about it. Of course, universe, create this content about me. You just declaring on that though, like that's one step closer to Skynet. That's where you're building Skynet with that statement.
This is the beverage that I'm
Oh,
gonna have, orange cream
yeah, I had
Coca-Cola.
one.
Did you like it?
Um, it gave me a lot of gas.
So, oh, okay. Well, I try to avoid the gas by doing a hard pour.
It
I
wasn't that end.
oh, I like to do a hard pour to get rid of a lot of the gas.
I don't know if that science is sound.
It is sound. They do it with beer all the time.
I don't
What I
know.
mean by that is if you want to drink more beer,
I feel like you
you
got a whole
hard
bunch of
pour
it
it.
all over your desk just now when you did that. Like it's like
Just
there's
one drop on
there's
the
a
desk.
splash
I
factor. Yeah.
love doing this high pour. When I do it in the kitchen, my
Do you?
kids look at me and they're like, "What's your problem?" I'm like, "I got
There's
lots."
something you ever seen? I think it's in maybe in Spain. There's actually I think there's parts of Spain where that is a thing. That's like part of their food regimen where they have the can or the bottle of the beer and they do this pour like this, kind of like all the way high, and it splashes friggin' everywhere. And then you get about this much beer. Like most of it's on the ground, but that's the thing. They're like, that's the truest form of hospitality here. You're like 2 meters across, pouring it down into a glass. You go, there you go, buddy. You're like, thanks, man. Imagine doing that at the Blue Jays game. $22 of beer on the floor. You got three in your glass. So what else you got on your list? I like this. Expedition.
Okay, so I got the Cabbage Patch Kids versus
Mhm,
Garbage Pail Kids as
mhm.
connected to dad details and lawn care. I took care of the Coke. We talked about Gary and the Leafs. Uh, okay, so I last year at this time, I was not happy with how much
Mhm.
money my credit card was billed um, to subscribe to Midjourney, the AI image creator, prompt to image creator. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is too much money for this. And I did enjoy Midjourney at first, and I just lost love with it. It became too slow. ChatGPT can do some good stuff now too. So anyway,
It couldn't at the time, though. At the
no,
time,
not at the
you
time.
you had to choose if you're using an AI image creator. There was very clear forks in the road, and Midjourney was one of the flavors. And I would say you were beyond enjoying it. That at that point, you go back, we check the episode
Check the
transcript,
tapes.
check the AI, check the AI. At the time, you were being transformed. You were in the process of noticing this kind of statement that others have made that you felt creative by using this tool. I remember this quite clearly because there was two big topics this time last year. One, what the f is happening with the engagement job? Like that was one of the big topics for you. The other part, I mean, I'm sure I had other stuff. I had stuff, but I remember for you is what's going on with the engagement job? How's that trending? What's that looking like? Will it be another year? Whatever, yada yada yada. And then the other part was using the AI image generator stuff, and you were digging it. And you actually infected me. I was like, yeah, I'll start messing with this too. I never jumped in and paid though.
Okay, so I paid, and then I was like fall off my chair type not shock, but like when it's you all US. So then when you get your credit card statement and you have the exchange plus you have the stuff that the credit card company adds on so they can make their cut. Everybody's making a cut. And so when you're done with all that, then it's like I don't want to pay this much. So my enjoyment of it was high. You're right. And it was an excellent tool for what it was doing at the time. But time has passed. And so at that time, I was so upset. I sent myself an email into the future that arrived yesterday saying, Roland, go to Midjourney and cancel your subscription now. May 22 is the day, but you're going to do it this weekend and get it done. And I was telling you in a communication with you that I got the email from the past. The email in the past was sent into the future, and it was received yesterday.
It
And
arrived on your shores.
it did. And I canceled Midjourney thanks to the email. Now, you said something interesting in a communication with me yesterday. You said that you just use reminders on your phone. But let me tell you the satisfaction of getting that email from yourself a year later. I don't know. I loved it. And I sent it to all my emails because you made a good point. You're like, well, what if you aren't still living in the email world that you sent it to? No, I did my work email, my personal email, and a couple of side emails that I have. I just blasted it. And that's what I've been doing with a lot of emails that are sent to the future is I'm blasting them that way to all of them. So anyway, I got the email from the past telling me it was time for Midjourney to take a hike, and there we go. No more Midjourney for me.
I will say, as far as efficiency goes, so here's the rule. Whatever reminder tool, and I tell this to my students all the time, whatever reminder tool you choose to use, it has to still connect with where you are. And saying where you are is similar in nature to saying what tool are you using, because I think of sort of like internet, cloud, and apps as kind of it's actually location. It strikes me as a location-based statement now more than ever. So it gets challenging, right? Like, are you using a tool that's specific, that's just running locally on your one device? Are you doing something like you did that has interconnectivity so it can go everywhere? No matter how it plays out, if you dare to use a reminder system, even if it's Post-it notes, heck, probably the most local version of a reminder is that old school one of tying the string around your finger, right? Like that's like the original version of like Post-it notes. And then we got Post-it notes and journals and da 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 da. So what I love though, here's the one thing, and I didn't put this in the polo that we're talking about. I do still believe hang it, post it wherever you know or wherever you suspect you might be between now, whatever that time frame in the future is. But there's another layer to this, and I'm going to concede that the email, what's nice about the Gmail or email is that particular method of reminders to me strikes me as hyper personal, because if you dared to start at the top, dear Roland, you're like, oh, someone sent me mail. And if you dared to use the subject line, that type of richness is not the same as just looking at a checklist, right? There's a different, I would concede that sending myself an email into the future, because I would say for the most part, I still do. I mean, I get a lot of spammy stuff, but I still enjoy a well-crafted Gmail. Someone sending something that I think when I actually think of value added in digital communication, I still fall in the space of, for the most part, there's a higher percentage of emails that come to me that are actually of high value. The other number of communication that I've had, whether it's DMing or it's texting or video stuff, yeah. I mean, and there's ones that stand alone, like all of my communications with you on all the different platforms. I'll put that as a standalone. But just broadly speaking, I would say that still email communication for me there's a higher value to it. Probably because the way it's connected to my job. Do I get a lot of extra? Yeah, but I get a lot of extra DM bullshit too. Like stuff that's just like one smiley face. I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, but is that valuable? I don't know. So I like this idea. When I reflected on your process, what I dug about it, what I realized I really liked about it is that it feels so much more personal. All of a sudden, out of the blue, you get a Gmail from yourself that you probably forgot that you sent. I actually hope you forgot you sent, because really, if you remember that it was coming that day, then what was the point? Because the actual Gmail is, if the thought's already in your head, you didn't need to send the Gmail. So I like this. I thought about that. It feels hyper personal, and that's cool. Rookie. Mhm. It's funny because I look down to paint something here,
Yeah,
and then I look up and I just see you do it. So like,
rookie. I yeah, I and I love that you just say one word. And I'm like, ah,
we know, we've been doing
yeah.
this too long now, right?
um, I I knew in like I'm aware that I need to cancel mid journey, but the day was it was lost on me.
Mhm,
Like I didn't know. I just knew it was in the spring, and because I sent the email, I'm like, I don't need to think about it now. I can focus on other things.
mhm.
And then the email came. I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, I posted. I decided to post on Threads because you're still on Threads,
Yep, yep.
and so I think I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to see if
Okay.
this works because we don't often do this. But present,
Mm,
share
no,
screen.
let's see what happens.
Will it? Oh, okay, good. Garbage pail. No, right here. Okay. Okay. So this is the image that I used, and
That's
this
it.
is
That's a blast from the past.
and
That's good.
that
That's
is good,
good.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So here's you, dad details,
Yep.
happy, taking care
Yeah.
of the lawn,
That's a
and the
nice lawn.
garbage pail kid one is epic.
Dang.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I got some skin and
Yeah. So,
eyeball concerns and
so there's
yep.
Christopher.
Yep.
I
There's
this
the
is one of your headshots for one of the plays you were in.
yeah, that's my classroom in the background maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh
Yep,
wow,
four or
that
5 years ago.
long, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And garbage
Yeah,
pail
that was
kid. So
yeah.
I like this idea. I think I'm going to play more with this idea. In fact, I did not write this down, but this week at work, one of the teachers. So you might not know this, but anyway, there are these little figurines of Jesus, like they're really small, little Jesus. Okay, and I know my wife. I can make a connection because my wife bought like hundreds of them from Timu, and she bought them to give to her kids for Easter or something. Anyway, long story.
Is it actually called Little Jesus?
Is it actually called Little Jesus? I don't know
I'm
what
okay
it's
with
called,
that. It's I don't know. I
but
always
they're about
feel
this big. They're little,
yeah, yeah.
and they're little figures, and I don't know what they're
Okay.
made out of, some kind of like rubber or something. But anyway, I'm familiar with Little Jesus. So the other day in the student success room, one of the student success teachers had one, and she put it on the standing table beside her computer, and it just was sitting there. And then at one point, she went to the back of the room to work with some kids, and it seemed what she was doing with the kids was serious. So like nobody was messing around. They were talking about math or something. And I could tell that it was kind of serious, so I decided I wanted to have some fun. So I grabbed little Jesus and I walked back, and as like the four of them are talking, I just literally put them down like right between all four of them on their math, and I'm like, I'm just putting this here, and I turned around and walked away. And then there was some laughter, and they're like, little Jesus is here to help us with our math. And anyway, so then I think to myself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to bring my cell phone with me, and while I'm working in the room, I'm going to do some cool photography with little Jesus. So I come in the next day and I go to the table where he was at, and he's gone. And then I go to the standing table and he's gone. So then I walk over to the door. We have a door between two classrooms. So I open the door and I say to the student success teacher, "Where's little Jesus?" She's like, "What do you mean? He's on the table." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's gone." She's like, "What?" And she gets up from her desk and she walks out of her classroom and into student success, and she's like, "Where is he?" I'm like, "I don't know. I think somebody stole him." I go right from 0 to 100. I'm like, "I think somebody took him." And she's like, "Oh, this sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about it." Because I actually brought my phone. I was gonna have some fun. I was gonna do some photography with little Jesus here and there and everywhere. And that's it. There's little Jesus. That's anyway.
It has an element of Elf on the Shelf
Yes.
kind of. That's when and when you're saying little Jesus, and then just what I love is the, you know, place little Jesus in the middle of a moment, say nothing. I like that. I like that. That's kind of cheeky, kind of funny. I think it's an endearing. I think it's connected. I think it's a way to sort of kind of include um catechism in a really accessible way. And I think it's good to have a little bit of humor like that. Um I like it. Just walk, put little Jesus there, and it's like, yeah, student success. Here we go. I mean, it's wrapped around the Catholic experience. As you're starting to say, little Jesus is gone the next day, and the reaction to that. There we go. Little looks like looks like a minifig.
It,
It's Jesus minifig.
so it's funny that you say Fig, because that's a nickname for my principal, Jay
Oh,
Figs. But this is in my principal's office. There
yeah.
was this car and he had little Jesus sitting in
What's
the
that? A
front there.
Corvette?
The Corvette.
Jesus rocking a cherry red Corvette,
And I
rosary on
wrote
the side.
here, Jesus won't take the wheel, because you can
That's
see his
right.
hands.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's an interesting mix of artifacts there between the little prayer card there, the rosary, Jesus, rocking the Corvette. There's a lot of there's a lot of um different metaphors rocking in that image. But yeah, the disappearing Jesus. Why would he hang around if there's no humans there left to help, right? He's a helper. They're a helper. He's there to help with. Yes. So is the suspicion that like really someone has kidnapped mini Jesus or caretakers like, oh, I'll have this. Thank
So
you.
at first I was like, somebody took him. But
Mm,
then I thought, you know what? If somebody needed him, like if somebody needed it close to
I
them,
love it.
great,
Someone
right?
someone needed Jesus. Yeah, that's good. They needed. I had a student give me one. Rochelle says, "Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I like this. This is. I like this.
I would have assumed Rochelle would have bought 1,000 of them from Timu to hand out to kids over the years, but maybe
It
now she
is.
will. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a. I mean, the fact that Timu's got the market share on minifig Jesus.
Okay, I know you have to go. The
Hmm.
last thing I wanted to drop was Foodapalooza. I feel
Oh
like we need
yes,
to have one. That's
we
all.
do. Yeah, no, that's good. It's funny. Again, our memestral cycle. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, that's cheeky. That's really cheeky.
Are you going to tell
So
everybody about that?
I don't know. That's kind of I don't even know it's a thing. It's so terrible. Here's where I'm at. I'll say it from this point of view is that the whole recently, it's just been the last couple weeks. I see a meme on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. I want to send it to Chids. And then something delays me and then it shows up in my mailbox in my inbox, within a couple days, and it's from you. And I'm like, okay, obviously our feeds are harmonized to a degree if we're sort of pulling up the same meme stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. Let's organize that. Well, I guess it's a heads up. Are we coming your way or my way? You think?
We're due to go your way.
Okay, so I
I mean,
guess
if you want to come here, great. But would like to acknowledge that we're due. Like it,
yeah. I think you're
we're
right. I
due.
think it is supposed to be local here. Okay. Let me scope out. Let me scope out. Are we putting it out? Putting it out to the rest of the fam? Or is it like how we want to post this up? Or is it just you and me? We can
I
talk about that offline.
No, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
Gary's right. Like, how long's the drive?
Yeah, and I think it'd be awesome if we could put it out to the crew.
Yeah,
Um, will people come? I don't know. Hopefully, the people in your neck of the woods might come out. Um, wh-
I don't know.
Gary's
I may. I
and
Gary's
if he's
in.
open,
Gary's
and I
in.
know Gary's been itching to. Gary's itching. I got to get a picture of Gary and turn him into a friggin' garbage pail kid.
I would say that
Oh,
is
look at this. Gary's like he's driving.
that's
The next message Gary posts here. Let me imitate what Gary's going to post next. This is what Gary's going to say next. I'm paying.
yeah, I'm paying. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, we'll organize it offline. I will say, and maybe it's next week, and maybe this is if we can get a little bit longer pod in, which I'm sure will be manageable next week. Um, I want to dig into, and I mentioned this to you directly communicating. I think it was on Marco Polo. I want to dig into the sort of like the feels, the impact, the sort of the disruption that can come with being a part of an investigation
Oh,
when you are one of the individuals that are gathering information because a student of yours is involved in something that needs an investigation, and you may be, you know, you'll know something, there's paperwork, there's a lot of networking, there's the communication with the parents, a lot of really big unruly pieces. And I put to you that over the last few years, I feel like I've had um at least one a year that does involve uh, the law or a social agency outside of the school. There's a layer, a third party, so to speak. So there's even in those spaces, having to do the sign off so certain people can talk to each other. Like there's a litigiousness to it that is just the documentation. And then there's the logistics of it, of setting up meetings. Yeah, I think I want to dig into that just a little bit. It's definitely a topic that I've never had a discussion broadly about it. I've only had it one-to-one with you. So not looking to reveal, I'm not looking to dox any kid that I've ever worked with or the system in itself. But I think I want to just walk through some of the fields because it's for me, I find it has become more heavy lifting. I think when I was younger in teaching, I sort of took it as it's kind of a thing that just happens and it felt random. And now, a couple decades into teaching, it hits me harder. It hits me harder. I find it harder to put down the idea that this event happened, that students that I know are involved in it, and that the families now have to sort of work through these processes outside of school. And I'm very much kind of like a middleman in it, right? I tend to be the person setting up the meetings, gathering the information, making sure the communication lines are all clear. So, yeah, it's a topic I want to just kind of maybe go ankle deep next week. And of course, Gary and Rochelle, if there's stuff you want to chat about, anybody else wants to join up with the WhatsApp chat space. Sometimes we can start to play with those topics ahead of time. There we
so
go.
before we go, I wrote down student investigations for us to
Mhm.
remember, but here's me as as a regular dad details cutting the lawn in the garbage pail guy.
I gotta say, I think beyond the obvious health concerns, I'm actually pretty concerned with your two-wheeled barfing lawnmower. Like that's kind of that's outrageous to me. That really is. It's terrible. It's horrible. So you need to get that
Gotta get that
lawnmower
dealt with.
tuned. Get
Yeah.
that into the shop, bro.
Gary says great topic. So we're
It's I
gonna
think it is. I think it is. I think it's also it's a bristly topic, right? And I know that it's kind of niche. Not all teachers have ever had to sort of be a part of that. I think that many teachers think or maybe surprised, how about this, that admin aren't the only ones that participate. It isn't always a here you go, take care of it, administrator. You teachers can and do in fact play active roles in parts of these investigations. But there's a cost. There's a cost to it, I believe.
okay. Bro, have a great last session of Tai Chi.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
And have a great weekend. And to everybody, Gary, Rochelle, thanks for hanging out and jumping in. And to anybody else who's listening, was listening, gonna listen, thanks. And that's it. This was season 8, episode 30, number 337 of the Decoded Podcast. Peace.
Peace, man.